One of the hardest things for entrepreneurs to do is to ask for help. I call it the entrepreneur's dilemma. We need more help than the average person to reach our full potential, but any request for help leaves us feeling vulnerable and exposed. Last night, I hung out with two of my friends who can't help but ask for help, and all of us can learn a tremendous amount from them. I'm Alex Charfen, and this is the Momentum Podcast, made for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum so we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, then rewrite them around our own will. We don't accept our destiny, we define it. We don't understand defeat because you only lose if you stop, and we don't know how. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are the minority, the few, who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future, and instead of just daydreaming of what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only source of consistent, positive human evolution, and we always will be. Last night was my birthday party, and we had about 50 or 60 people here at the house, and it was absolutely extraordinary. Some of the most brilliant people in the world were here last night in my home hanging out with us, and it was just an incredible event. It was so confirming and reassuring and exciting. And, you know, I as a kid, didn't have a lot of birthday parties because I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't know a lot of people. I was very awkward and different. And now, as a 46-year-old, I had people from around the world and around Austin come here to spend a birthday with me, which was just humbling and inspiring. And the two people who stayed latest and hung out with me and my family afterwards were John Morrow and Sean Stevenson. And I think part of the reason I get along so well with the two of them is I relate to them a ton. See, Sean is about 2.5 feet tall. He was called the 3-foot chef at one point, and he is in a wheelchair and can't walk, but does more than most people I've ever met in my life. And John Morrow is in a chair, and it has a condition where the only part of his entire body he can move is his face. He feels no sensation anywhere in his body except for his face, and he runs his entire life through his face. Now, here's what you need to know about these guys. They both run $1 million plus businesses. They influence millions, not hundreds, millions of people around the world. John writes a blog, 2 or 3 million people will download it. Sean does a video, 10 or 20 million people will watch it. And both of them have to constantly ask for help every single day of their lives. They literally can do almost nothing without getting help. And one of the things that so many entrepreneurs fight is getting help. And here's why. We feel like getting help makes us look weak. We feel like getting help makes us look like we can't do anything. We feel like getting help makes us look like we're less than. And so many of us, and I'm talking to everyone out there, both men and women, have a hard time asking for help. In fact, recently I was asked, is it different for men and women? And my answer was, I don't really think so. We both struggle with this. Both sexes struggle with it like crazy, maybe for different reasons or for different opinions. But the fact is that entrepreneurs have an incredibly hard time asking for help. Well, here's part of the reason that I love to hang out with Sean and John. They have no ego about asking for help at all, because they've had to do it their entire lives. In fact, both of them joke about it. Both of them have incredible wisdom about how to get help, and both of them have been doing it forever. And that's why they can accomplish more than the average person from a wheelchair with limited mobility, with limited ability to move around, to do anything. And, you know, it's interesting. I've shared the story of both of them multiple times. They're really close friends of mine. They inspire me like crazy. And one of the times that I shared the story of John Morrow, of hanging out with him, I had one of my clients say, geez, Alex, you know, John Morrow runs an entire $1 million business and a team of over 15 people with just his face, just his voice. Why can't I do that? And that's a good question for all of us to ask. Here's why. Because most of us aren't willing to ask for help. Most of us feel bad asking for help. And most of us subconsciously, in a less than conscious way, turn off the reflex to ask for help before we even do. And I want to peel back why we do this. I want to release you from the shackles of not getting help, because it will hold you back just as much as anything in your entire life. If you fail to ask for help and you try and do everything yourself, you will hold back the success you can make. You will hold back the family you can have. You will hold back the children you're able to raise. You will hold back the contribution you make to the world. And here's why I think it's so hard for so many of us to ask for help. Because all of us have been in situations where we had to ask for help and it backfired. Every one of us. You know, we've been in situations, in social situations, in school, in clubs, in sports, where we asked for help and somebody told us no. We've all been in situations where we've raised our hand and we've been shut down. And for entrepreneurs, we've all been in situations where we've been told to sit down, stop talking, quit making everyone else uncomfortable instead of getting help. And for all of us, there's been times in our lives where we've needed more help than anything else and we didn't get it. And here's what happens. That creates a pattern in our minds that when we ask for help, we are vulnerable and exposed. But I want you to understand something. When you are vulnerable and you ask for help, it makes you feel small and insignificant to the people around you, but everyone sees you as being massive and in control and in charge. Vulnerability actually looks powerful. Vulnerability looks like you are in control. Vulnerability looks like humility. Vulnerability is transparency. Vulnerability is inspirational to people around you. So if you're willing to ask for help, you will blow people away. The reason that Sean Stevenson and John Morrow can influence millions of people is because they have absolutely no fear of being vulnerable. John was talking last night about dating, about how weird situations come up when he's dating and how it's uncomfortable. And it was amazing to hear how he was willing to be vulnerable and share with us and tell us how his life is. And yesterday, my daughters and Katie and I went and saw Sean speak, and he spoke for the Health Coach Institute, and he did a 1-hour keynote that blew everyone away. And you want to talk about vulnerability? He then had a table brought out onto the stage and had Peter, who was here with him, put him up onto a table, and Sean did a workout for everyone in the room. He's like, hey, I want to show you my workout, because if anyone in this room thinks they can't work out, I want you to see how I do it. And then he proceeded to like flip himself up and down, upside down, and kick his legs up into the air, and then curl 3-pound weight or do lateral raises with 3-pound weights, and do push-ups with little push-up extenders. And it was amazing to watch him work out. And you know what so many people tell me about working out? Oh, I'm embarrassed to go to the gym. Oh, I feel weird going to the gym. I feel odd, working out in front of other people. Here's a guy who's less than 3 feet tall, confined to a wheelchair, sitting on a table in front of 1,000 people at a conference working out. There is absolutely no excuse. If you want to check it out, go look on my Facebook page. I actually live streamed that whole thing on my personal Facebook page because Sean's such an incredible inspiration to me and to everyone around him. And here's the lesson that you, me, and everyone else can learn from Sean and John. The more you ask for help, the more significant you become. The more you ask for help, the more influence you will have. The more you ask for help, the more people around you will respect you and want to hear you. The more you ask for help, the more people will want to listen to you and understand what you are saying. John recently, John flies around the world and now is going to be flying more around the world in order to speak and go share his message. And he hasn't done it a lot to date because he's completely immobilized. He can't lift his back. It's hard for him to go through security. And in order to get on a plane, it is a complete ordeal. He has to have 4 firefighters come and help him onto a plane, which is dangerous for him, dangerous for the firefighters, dangerous for everybody. Well, he has been doing a ton of research, and you want to talk about asking for help? He actually went out and found a person who has a product called the Eagle. and it raises, it's a crane, a miniature crane that fits in the aisle of a plane that actually raises up a paraplegic and can wheel them down the aisle and then place them in a chair. Well, the Eagle is used in Australia, but it hasn't been used here in the US. Well, rather than just say, oh man, I wish it was here in the US, John's actually been negotiating with the company that created the Eagle, and now he's going to be the only private citizen in the world who owns one, because he reached out to the company and told them he needed one, and then he used one here in the US, documented the entire process, and they're sending it to the FAA to get it approved so that John can own one. See, that's what John has to do to take a trip across the country. He has to get specialized equipment, specialized help, and everyone has to know that it's going on. In fact, when he did travel across the country, it was at the executive level of the airline he traveled on. Everyone knew what was going on. Then there's us, entrepreneurs who are able-bodied but afraid to ask for help. And we hold back the contribution we can make. We hold back the difference we can make in the world. We hold back our ability to create the outcomes that we've always known we wanted. We hold back the ability, the drive, the determination to answer that voice in the back of our minds that has always said, you are here for more, you are here to be more, to do more, to achieve more, and to make more happen in this world. And I believe with 100% certainty that the difference between you achieving everything you want in the world and you being frustrated is your ability to ask for help. Learn from my two friends, Sean Stevenson and John Morrow, who ask for help because they have to, but now they ask for help because they're making a massive difference in the world. And most people would call them disabled. I would call them specially abled, because every disability or challenge or issue you have creates a ability and a strength and a certainty that you should have as well. So it doesn't matter what you're struggling with or what you need help with or what your challenge is, declare it to the world and go out and get the help you need. When I finally started sharing with people that I was dyslexic and dysgraphic and had trouble with calendars and had a really difficult time keeping things organized, my team knew exactly how to help me, and my entire business and my entire life changed. Stop trying to be perfect. Ask for help. Go out and make your greatest contribution. If you're ready to not only ask for help, but build a team around exactly what you want to achieve and help them grow in a transformational way, let us help you. We help world-changing entrepreneurs build teams, create systems and structure around building multinational, multi-million-dollar companies that create massive contributions. If you have an opportunity that you're ready to finally build an infrastructure and team around, go to billionairecode.com/apply. You may want to just check out our funnel if you sell any type of high-ticket product, because it's working like crazy, and you may want to fill out the application. Connect with a member of my team and understand how we can help you. billionairecode.com/apply. If you're ready to create a strategic direction so your team knows where you're going, communicate with them in a way that they understand exactly what's going on, and start building the infrastructure of people and process around you so that you can make a massive contribution, it's easy. billionairecode.com/apply.